Wonderful. And so let's say a big good afternoon, happy Monday to Officers Walker and Cunningham. I'm going to turn the virtual stage off to you, but I'm here with the Q&A for anything you may need. All right, welcome, all about campus safety in our wonderful Pitt Police Department.
Thank you, Summer. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Officer Walker. This is Officer Cunningham, and we're basically going to give you a brief overview of our department, a little bit about our department, safety on campus, and tools and resources that would be valuable to your students as well as yourselves as parents. So we're just going to go through these slides. And again, any questions you have, throw them in the chat or the Q&A, I'm sorry, and we'll make sure we get those questions answered. Feel free to take screenshots of any of the slides that we have up here, even though this will be available at a later date as well. You can see all the information about our police department up there on the screen, our address. We're actually located across from McGee Women's Hospital, the Bridge Apartments, and right next to CVS on Forbes Avenue. Our website there, safety.pitt.edu/police, where you can find basically all the information that we're going over in this presentation. It's also listed somewhere in that website. Our emergency number is 412-624-2121. We also have a non-emergency number that is 412-624-4040, and that is only used during regular business hours. So that's pretty much for non-emergency information. All right. Let's see if we can get there we go. So a little bit about us. We are a full functioning police department. So we're no different than any other municipality, borough, township in the way we operate around the clock, all year round. We are the third largest in Allegheny County, with the city of Pittsburgh being the largest and the county being the second largest, and then us. So pretty big department with around 89 commissioned officers. So we are everywhere. You'll see a lot of us during move-in. We will be out and about helping parents and students navigate in and out of the res halls and making sure traffic flows the best we can. We do also share the jurisdiction with Zone 4. The city of Pittsburgh is broken into different zones. We fall specifically into Zone 4. So oftentimes, depending on the nature of calls that we get down here, we do respond with the city, or it's whoever can get there first. So we do have a good working relationship with the city. Our jurisdiction is within 500 yards of any Pitt-owned or leased buildings. That puts us pretty far out. Shady Side, Squirrel Hill, even South Side. So we're pretty far out there. Not that we're necessarily patrolling those areas, but we can respond to calls. We also have off-campus locations that are pretty far from the Oakland area, but we don't patrol those. We just have property in those areas. We have, in addition to our main police station, which you saw the address there on the first slide, we have 4 substations. So those are just smaller stations where our officers can take calls, do reports, whatever they need to do. And those locations are the Hillman Library ground floor. That is actually our newest mini station, Sutherland Hall, Bouquet Gardens Building J, and also Ruskin Hall. We have those substations. And then just some of our specialized units, we have quite a few. We have a motorcycle unit, as you can see there in the bottom right corner. We have our bicycle unit. Our officers have electric bikes, which makes it really easy to navigate upper and lower campus. In the past, it was very difficult with the big hills that we have here. We have 2 canines. They're explosive device canines, so they're able to detect any type of explosives on campus. We just introduced our newest canine, Octane. So the German short hair pointer there in the picture just recently retired about a month ago, and we now have our new yellow lab, Octane, who will be taking his place. We have an investigations unit. So we have about, I believe, 8 detectives that work on cases year-round, even in the summertime. A rapid deployment team, special emergency response team, otherwise known as a SWAT team. And we have our community programs unit, which Officer Cunningham and I are both part of. That's why we do that. This is pretty regular for us to do these types of presentations, safety anything regarding safety presentations, events on campus, and that kind of any community related oriented events we're part of. And we also have an honor guard. All right, I'm going to turn this over to Officer Cunningham. She's going to take the next couple slides.
All right, and moving forward, we do have our own dispatch, our communications room. This makes our response time shorter, and this is what I love about our department. We still receive 911 calls, but this what makes it extremely easy for our department. And this is what our emergency number, our 2121, this goes directly to our dispatchers. Our brains are wired to dial 911. Our dispatchers, they monitor that as well, and they can see what comes in the area. But that emergency number goes directly to our dispatchers. We have 10, which they are now called public safety telecommunicators. We have 10 full-time that works. We have 24 hours, morning, afternoon, and midnight. They receive an average of 51,000 calls in Oakland annually. That is a lot. We also have security guards on campus as well. We have 49 of them, and they are located in various locations on campus, mainly in our high traffic buildings, such as the Cathedral, our new rec center, Victory Heights, and they also assist our officers to enhance security in and out around our buildings. So safety on campus, this is huge, and we practice and talk about this all the time, is situational awareness. Paying attention, avoiding distractions. It is very, very busy around Oakland. Major bus line, vehicle traffic, pedestrian traffic. When we speak to our students, engaging with our students, faculty and staff, when our cell phones, our attention is a currency. And this is what we see over and over again is people on their cell phones, right? Reading as well. Our earbuds are in our ears. When it comes to walking at night, we see a lot of our students running. We tell our students to walk in groups, use the buddy systems, call a friend and have a plan in place. Taking back alleys at night is something that we discourage. We do have many alleys off of our main streets in Oakland. We also have our own app. It's called the Rave Guardian app, which will be sunsetting in a few weeks. And we are now in the process of having a new safety app called the Pitt Safe app. And so please keep an eye out on our, if you follow us on social media, we will be putting a lot of information out on this. So we encourage everyone to download this app. So what this does is, and when we have a lot of safety features that go directly to our dispatchers, when it comes to this app, to where we can communicate in real time with our dispatchers as well. Do you have any information when it comes to that?
Okay, moving on. Safety on campus, continuing on from the last slide. We encourage our students to, if you see something, say something, always trust your gut. We would rather have our students call us to look into something rather than them just think, I don't want to bother the police. That's what we're here for. We try to make sure our students know that from the very start, especially our freshmen who are new to this area. We have people from all over the world that come to Pitt. So we really encourage them to just follow their instincts, report any kind of suspicious activity to the Pitt police. We encourage them also not to carry anything more than what they absolutely need. So they don't need every credit card. They certainly don't need their passports, social security cards, things like that. They do not need that with them, the bare minimum. And it's not that we want to make anybody fearful to be down here, but the reality is this is an urban campus. So while it is a very safe campus, given the size of the population in Oakland alone and how large the campus population is, things still happen here. It is a safe area, but things still happen. So just some pointers that we give to our students, if somebody approaches them and wants something they have, give it to them and then call the police immediately. Time is always of the essence, especially in a very heavily concentrated area. And there's, as Officer Cunningham mentioned, there's a major bus line. People will get on a bus and they're gone. So getting that information to the police as fast as possible is essential. Getting a good description of the individual, including clothing, tattoos, height, race, gender, anything that would stand out, especially shoes. Direction of flight, if this individual got into a vehicle or are they on foot, what direction in Oakland were they traveling? All that information helps us. So just a couple pointers if anything were to happen down here. Like I said, this isn't an everyday occurrence, but things do happen. So it's better to have the knowledge and tools rather than just not knowing what to do if that were to happen. Okay, moving on to our emergency phones. So when you come to campus, you are going to see these everywhere. We have over 500 on campus in and around the buildings. They all look pretty similar to the one that you see there in the picture. And the way that they work, you would just simply press the red button and it's going to connect you directly to our dispatch center. They will also know the location of where that is coming from. So they will send an officer to that location, whether or not somebody speaks into that speaker or not. So we're still going to check the area, make sure everything is okay before we return to normal. These are sort of something, these have been around a long time because, before cell phones were a thing, everybody has cell phones now. So these don't necessarily get utilized as often, but they are, it's just another added sense of security to have something like that available for our students if they need them. Because what happens if your phone is dead, or what if you lost it, or if it was stolen? So it is an option. It's a nice safety option. And we also have, I don't even know the number exactly at this point, but we have well over 1,400 cameras around this campus. So there's really nowhere that you can stand and not be on camera, which is great for if we're looking into a crime that was committed and we're able to locate an individual or get a good description. They're very helpful. They come in use. All right, back to you.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to personal property, we spend a lot of money on these things, right? And we sometimes we see a lot of things. I like to say that they tend to grow legs. So when it comes to our electronic devices, we tell our students, please install security software on your computer. Never leave your belongings unattended, even if you're only stepping away briefly. Our library, the Hillman Library, our law library, they are public. So anyone can come in and check out books that are not students. So therefore, if you're in there studying alone, it's okay if you lose your seat. Your belongings are worth a lot of money. Take your things to pack them up in your backpack and take them to the restroom with you. If someone's in your seat when you get back, find another one. The library is huge. Okay. Do not leave your valuables in plain sight in front of your windows and cars, etc. Take your things in your car, put them in your trunk. Take them in your residence hall, in your apartment, wherever you are going. Just don't leave it in the front seat of your car, the back seat. Secure it to where it cannot be seen. This is just easy. We had various complaints and call-ins that people are going around in Oakland and checking doors of vehicles. Write down serial numbers and store them in a safe place. There's serial numbers on electronic devices. that you can write, that are on your electronic devices, that you can write them down, because if something is pawned, you have something that is identifiable and you can take that.
I have one thing to add to that too. With theft is like one of our biggest crimes on campus, but it is not. It is usually from crime of opportunity. So with our students being too trusting, as Officer Cunningham mentioned, just getting up, getting something at your Panera, you go up and get your food, and then you come back and your stuff is missing. So the majority of those thefts are crime of opportunity. So it is, so we can't drill that into their heads enough. Like, take your stuff with you, even though it's a pain. Take it with you.
And it can happen so quickly. And as Officer mentioned earlier, as far as our buses, if you've been on our campus and seen how often buses come and go, and see how close the Hillman Library is or the cathedral, and how these buses run, something can be taken and someone can just get right on the bus and they're gone. Bicycle and pedestrian safety. We have bicycle lanes, and they're putting in more as well on Fifth Avenue. That's where a lot of this construction is coming about when it comes to the PRT, the public transportation. They're doing a lot of construction when it comes to the bus lanes and the bicycle lanes. So there are designated lanes for bicycles. Doing better when it comes to this to keep everyone safe, because unfortunately it does happen, and this is why we are having this conversation, because our attention, there are so many distractions. So we definitely try to I want to say preach it here, but talk to everyone about using the designated lanes to avoid accidents, the bicycle lanes, the pedestrian crosswalks. Right there at the intersection of Forbes, Bigelow, Shinley, we have that four-way stop, to where all the traffic lights stop and you have the crosswalks, just using the crosswalks, paying attention, use the cross signals. When I'm out there walking and I literally stop and wait for the light to change and have my little walking little signal. I'm waiting, avoiding distractions, texting and listening to music. We tell our students, if you like listening to music or listening to a podcast, I know I do. I have one earbud in, transparency mode. Bicycles are considered vehicles and we must obey rules. So they have to be off on the road. Register your bicycles through the nation's largest bike registration service. So the bikeindex.org / Pitt. So it's registered there. So we can probably, Summer, if you can probably get this to the parents as well, this website, because some of our students do bring their bicycles.
Okay, moving on to our notification system. So we have two that we're going to talk about. The first one is our emergency notification service, or ENS messaging. Now, these are used for very significant in nature type incidents, such as if there was a bomb threat or if a pipe burst in one of our buildings, because we do have some older buildings, active killer. Those are the kind of incidents where we would have to evacuate a whole building or put a building on lockdown. That is when your students would receive an ENS message. These are tested once a semester just to make sure everything is functioning properly. And any Pitt affiliate, so our student, staff, and faculty, we're automatically subscribed. But as a parent, you are able to subscribe under your parents' or under your students' email. So a lot of parents have questions about that. You can certainly do that through their Pitt email. And students can also decide how they want to receive those messages, whether they want to receive it through email, text, phone call, or any combination of those three, I believe they automatically are enrolled in that to receive it through a phone call or email. I can't remember which one it is that they will get by default, but they can change that. So as parents, I would definitely suggest having that too. And those are not something that you're going to see very often unless there's a critical incident that's requiring us to lock down or evacuate, as I mentioned. Sometimes there's confusion when something happens, and we'll get students or parents concerned with, well, why wasn't there an ENS message that went out? Because there are certain guidelines that certain criteria that has to be met for that to fall under an ENS message. And the other type of messaging is our crime alerts. So these are issued for serious unresolved crimes, kind of more like isolated incidents that might happen, like a burglary or a robbery or an assault of some sort. These are at the discretion of the chief of police. Of course, there's more involved with just our chief of police, but our command staff and public safety director. So these types of incidents will go out on our Facebook, our website, and also X. The students can receive crime alerts through text. You cannot, though, as a parent, you cannot, but I would highly suggest all parents following us on social media so that you will get that notification as well. And you can see an example of what those look like, what type of information is included in those types of alerts. And I don't think they've really changed much over the years as far as what content is included there. It's really all the information that we're given that we can actually put out there. And sometimes it's very vague. Other times it's more descriptive. It just depends.
Panic buttons. So what are they? These are devices, when they're pressed, the classroom will get locked and it will notify us, our police, of an active threat and an emergency. This goes directly to our dispatchers as well. There is no communication. It just literally goes directly to our dispatchers. So they are located near like the podium where the teacher's console, or they are mounted on the wall near the door. So pretty much when it is pressed, it's pressed when in an active threat situation. Have they been pressed accidentally? Yes. When we educate our faculty and staff on these, we or our students as well, because our students reserve spaces. We tell them if it is safe to do so, to also notify us, because we need that we need that communication, because to how to respond, because when it comes to a panic button being pressed, it is still the unknown, right? So if it is somewhat safe to do so, to give us some sort of communication of, who and what is kind of happening, so we know how to respond accordingly to that situation. When it comes to lockdowns, it is pretty much our buildings, they have audibles, and it will pretty much stay where you are. It will the lockdown alarm will sound. The building, all the doors will lock down. Do not open the doors for others during a lockdown. We test these during the fall and in the spring. When law enforcement arrives on scene, this is what we teach everyone. And when we do our lockdowns, the buildings are occupied. They are. We tell our students to put the phones down, the hands goes up, raise the hands, remain calm. When we teach our self-defense. Panic is contagious, and so is calm. In any situation, it is scary, right? So it is like going back to grade school when we do our fire drills, right? So doing these when the building is occupied, even if our students are annoyed, it is something that we still have to do. One, so we know how long it takes to evacuate a building, and also to make sure that everything is working appropriately, the audible and the visuals. So, yes, you want to talk about it? Anything you want to add?
No, just something, and there's a lot of, I know there's a lot of verbiage on this slide, and it's kind of small, but definitely something to maybe take a screenshot of to read on your own. We also tell our students, if a building's in lockdown, stay away from it. Stay as far away from it as possible.
If you're outside.
If you're outside, yes, correct. And keeping in mind that if you do exit, if a building's in lockdown and you leave, you cannot get back in. You can get out, you can't get back in. So there is a reason for it, and the students will see once they get on campus that they're going to go through, if they're in their res hall while we do these evac drills and lockdown emergency drills, they'll get to hear what those audibles sound like and familiarize themselves. And some res halls are very loud, and other ones aren't as loud. They're kind of different depending on, I guess, is how old they are, or how not every single system sounds exactly the same. But your students, I'm sure, will at some point experience what they sound like. Okay. All right, so this is just a slide on how to sign up for the crime alert and emergency notification, which again, you as parents wouldn't be able to receive those crime alerts, but the students will. And I'm sure even once they get here, they're going to hear a lot. Everything we're talking about, they're going to hear a lot about several different times, depending on how many different events they attend. And some of it's required, some of it's optional. We're at everything. So they're going to see more of this information, hear more of this information, especially during Welcome Week. Okay, one of the classes that we offer for free for any of our students, staff, and faculty is our safe self-defense training. Officer Cunningham and I both teach this. It is a very beginner level. It is a 2-hour training. Students don't have to have any kind of prior knowledge or experience prior to coming to this class. It's very fun and informative. We make it really informal, so it's a good, easy learning atmosphere for the students. And we also, they will walk away with some cool swag too if they come to this class. But a lot of parents are always interested in this. Just, if they have a student that's not really, in their opinion, very street smart, or how, maybe you grew up in a more rural area where you didn't have to worry about locking your doors and that kind of stuff. This is a good class just to learn some tactics if you were ever in a situation where you needed them, and hopefully you never have to use them. And you can see the sign up information is on that slide. Again, the students will hear more about this, and we'll be presenting more on this whenever they come to campus. And this is just a snippet of our website where you can find all this information, learn more about us specifically. And I think that is it. As you can see, we're on pretty much all the platforms with social media. And Summer, not sure if we have any Q&A.
We do. Hi. First question. Oh, sorry. I'm getting an echo.
Do you want me to stop sharing, screen sharing?
No, if you'll just mute while I ask the question, I think we're probably giving each other feedback. The first question is, would it be useful for parents to also get the Pitt Safe app? And can they get that app?
So as far as I know, that'll be available for parents. So with the Rave Guardian app, anybody could download it. As far as if it was free for non-affiliates, I'm not sure how that would work. It is free for our students, however, but I do know that the students that use the Rave Guardian app, so one of the features was if the student was going to needed to alert a guardian that they were leaving class and walking home, and a message would come through to whoever their guardian was, whether it was a friend, roommate, a coworker, parent, whatever. they didn't have to have the app to receive that notification. They would just click on it and it would alert them. So as far as this new safety app, we don't really know much about it yet because it hasn't been released and we haven't been given that information. It's kind of like still early stages. So I'm not quite sure about that, but we will definitely have those answers when your student comes to campus.
Excellent. The next question, I wanted to highlight it. I don't know if you can answer it exactly because it's really specific, but I was hoping you could highlight about how all of our crime statistics are public as a public institution. The specific question is, when was the last time you had to use this system? It's when you were talking about the lockdown and emergency system or an event that needed it. Well, I realize that's really specific. I was hoping you'd talk a little bit about where crime statistics are published.
If you go to our website, they are on. We post our crime logs on our website, but specifically during a lockdown, on a specific time when it happened.
Trying to think of the last lockdown or evacuation.
Good question.
Which one did you say, Summer?
Question doesn't say. I believe it's when you were talking about the lockdown system.
So we do evacuation and lockdown drills every fall and spring for a specific lockdown, like an occurrence or incident. I don't have a specific date on the last one that we've had.
Which probably means that's a good thing because it doesn't happen often. I can't think of an exact date either. A couple of years ago, we had some hoax calls that might have been in 2023.
That's the only one I can think of. I could think about when one of our local private high schools that's in Oakland.
Yes.
And we ended up on lockdown just due to proximity. But and you're right, that was 2022, 23. So
somewhere around there. Yeah.
Think about the last one. It's been a while.
Yeah, so I guess that's a good problem to have, not remembering exactly, but it's not often, we'll say that. I would say more often a building might be evacuated just because of a steam pipe breaking and like water's pouring down the stairwell kind of thing. So not necessarily for something critical in nature, or an active shooter incident. So that hasn't happened really that I can think of since the swatting calls that we had. Oh, one more thing I want to mention. Aside from that, the call log, the crime log, we also in our For Safety's Sake magazine that I don't believe I don't think it's published anymore, the hard copy, but you can look into our For Safety's Sake magazine information on our website the fall of every year, and that would include the previous 2 or 3 years crime stats, so you can kind of compare year after year, like how many fires occurred on campus, how many assaults occurred on campus within the within the, what am I trying to say, our boundaries of this campus. And I can't think of the right word, but that would include all of those crimes or incidents that took place within the boundary of campus, according to Cleary.
Wonderful. Our next question, as they're planning and purchasing what their student is bringing to Pitt, they're seeing some suggestions of mace, pepper spray, tasers, etc. They understand there's different laws. What do you advise students to carry with themselves as approved tools to stay safe? And maybe if we could also remind people of what is and what is not allowed in the residence homes.
So if you look in the student code of conduct, no weapons are permitted on campus. However, students are permitted to carry pepper spray. They actually sell it in the bookstore, so you are permitted to have that. But if your student plans to carry something like that, whether it's here, anywhere that they are in their lives, and this is for anybody, not just students, I would definitely advise you to know how to use it properly. You don't want to be in a situation where you want to use it and then use it improperly and then you spray yourself. That stuff is absolutely awful to experience. So usually they have around 20, 25 dispenses, or you can even buy it in inert canister of pepper spray to practice with, to know how to use it. You would have to rely on your fine motor skills in that type of situation. So I would definitely advise them to know how to use it, make sure it's on them and not in their backpack, because then it's pretty much not accessible if they actually would need it. But they are permitted to have that. But as far as any other weapons, no weapons allowed on this campus. The only people you should see on this campus with weapons are us, the police. Not even our security guards, they are unarmed. So now, being that this is an urban campus, you will sometimes, as soon as you step out onto the street, you're now on city property, and Pennsylvania is an open carry state. So it's not often, but sometimes you will see somebody, open carry. But it is so few and far in between that we get calls for that type of thing. Whether people just don't call about it or it's not really happening much around here, I don't know. But yes, as far as the students go, they are not permitted to have weapons on campus other than the pepper spray for self-defense.
Next question is about walking back and forth at night. What if they don't have a buddy? Can you talk a little bit about some of the services we may have?
Okay, so out of the Hillman Library, we have the walking escort program. So what that is an allied security guard. They do have specific hours though, and we would have to get you those updated hours. They should be on our website, and at the beginning of the year, I'm not sure if they are going to change or not. But the allied security guard, and they will walk, say, since the Hillman Library, it is the residence hall that are in walking distance of that. So it's just a lower campus, like the Towers, Ruskin Hall, or if you do live upper campus, like Sutherland Hall, they will walk you to the bus stop. So that is something that that we offer as well. And I'm trying to think, and also it comes with that app as well. If you feel unsafe, that app is a good thing, because what Officer Walker was talking about is that it's like a little safety timer. You can say, okay, I'm leaving the Hillman Library. You set that timer. I should be home in about 6 minutes, right? If you don't set that timer off, it's going to alert your guardian. And then your guardian should be checking in once that alarm goes off. Have a conversation with that person while you're walking if you feel unsafe. We don't put ourselves out there as an Uber service because we are going from call to call. That's why we have our walking escort program. That's why Safe Rider for the university's
After hours.
after hours. We have that. That should be on our website as well, even though they are a separate department from us. You would have to go onto their website.
Yeah, Pitt Mobility would have the hours specifically for when Safe Rider runs. But I think we have shuttle service for the students.
Yep.
All but 1 hour of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And they do get so many rides per semester. At least that's how it used to be. I'm not sure if any of that has changed, but I don't know that many students, once they're on campus and they've become acclimated and they meet their friends and, they have their routine down. I think it's an underutilized service, but it's available.
Yes,
There
I
are
put the link
resources.
for Safe Rider in the chat, and it's 25 rides per semester. That's a lot. That's a lot of ride. If your student needs 25 Safe Rider rides per semester, it's probably good for them to maybe visit our community outreach officers and chat about how they're navigating campus to make sure that they feel safe and they know their resources. So 25 is a really good amount. I've never heard of a student ever being turned away. But I did put the walking escort program and the Safe Rider links in the chat.
Thank you, Summer. Anything else?
No, those are all of the active questions in the Q&A. And we'll leave it up because we have a little bit of time. We got through lots of information. I'll leave it up for a minute if anyone has any last questions, but this is not your only opportunity. I also really highly encourage you when you're here for Welcome Week and Arrival to stop by. You'll see our officers everywhere. I mean, like my building that I'm mostly in is the William Pitt Union. I see them every day, all the time. Someone's always around. So it's a great opportunity to just stop and chat and say hello. Maybe you'll see these two familiar faces. Thank you, Beata. Thank you so much. Comments. Wonderful. A reminder, the recording will be on the Pitt Student Affairs YouTube channel. I'm going to go ahead and pause it.